check it out.
What's up, everybody? Super Dubber X-Fan here for weekly update number 13. So, what's new with the BRZ? Well, nothing really. I just found out how expensive Dynamat can be for what I want to do with quieting down the exhaust. Kind of expensive, so probably going to hold off on that and just endure a little bit with the exhaust sound. And, you know, some days it annoys me with how loud it is, other days I don't mind. It just depends on my mood. So yeah, not a whole lot else going on. I'm still enjoying the car. It's summer now. It's pretty hot today, so I have the air conditioning on. And so I'm just going to answer a few of the questions that a lot of you guys have been asking about the BRZ and how it's been holding up over the past year. So the first question that everyone's been asking me is, what kind of miles per gallon do you get? It's a pretty small engine, so you can drive this thing really hard and still get really good gas mileage. So I'm doing, on average, about 28 to 30 miles per gallon in the city, and on the highway I'm getting 36 miles per gallon. You know, the 6-speed manual in this car, it's geared really well, so you get really good highway mileage in this car. So yeah, I mean, I'd say mixed driving, I get, you know, 20, or I get probably 32 or 33 miles per gallon, you know, mixed combined cycle for the two driving modes. So yeah, I love the gas mileage in this car. And this car has a small fuel tank too. It's like 12.5 gallons or something. So, I mean, fill-ups are cheap, you know, you drive forever, and you just, it's great. I mean, that's part of the awesomeness about this car, is it's just, you can just drive the crap out of it. It doesn't really cost a whole lot to keep driving. Another thing is, people have been asking me how the tires and the brakes are wearing, and the brakes are fine. You know, they lost a little bit of meat, but they're still, you know, really good, perfect. I mean, I don't have any complaints about the brakes. The tires are wearing unevenly. I think, you know, the dealership that I'm taking the car to, they're supposed to rotate the tires every oil change, but I don't think they have. Or if they have, then my driving style is way more aggressive than I thought, because the rear tires are wearing a lot quicker than the fronts. You know, being rear-wheel drive, I expected that. The way I drive, you've seen it. I mean, you expect the rear tires to have a little less meat on them than the front, but the rear tires are getting pretty close to the wear bar already. So I'm going to make sure when I take it in for an oil change next week that they put, you know, the rear tires in the front, so that I can, you know, the front tires have a good amount of meat on them, so I'll put those in the back, and hopefully the tires will be able to get me through the rest of the summer. But I do want to buy new tires for this car. I'm probably going to get some crappy tires, actually. A lot of people do super nice sticky rubber and stuff, and, you know, everyone's been saying, you know, you should do wider tires and you know, so I can make it this awesome handling track car or something, which I'm not going for. This car, the reason why I love it is that it's so easy to get sideways. So I'm really paranoid that I put too sticky of a tire on, or even go wider for the tires, that it won't be as tail happy. So I want to preserve the same qualities that these Michelins have from the factory without paying as much as I would for the Michelins, and also, you know, just to give it a little bit more grip up front. You know, so I'm going with 215 tires, but instead of these Grand Touring tires, I'm going to go with some ultra high performance tires. I'm going to do Sumitomos probably. I ran those. I bought 2 sets of those for the Legacy GT, and I loved them. So they were cheap. They're really good. They're actually really comparable to the Potenza RE01As that I originally had on the Legacy from the factory. So they're as good as Bridgestones in my opinion. Really like them a lot. So that's probably what I'm going to do for tires, but I probably won't be doing that until the end of the summer, unless these tires wear even faster than they are now. So yeah, that's it for the wear items. Other people have been asking about the taillight condensation issue. These cars do have a tendency to have some taillight condensation, and those have been replaced under warranty. And I actually had my passenger side taillight replaced under warranty for the condensation. The driver's side one had a tiny little bit, but it wasn't enough that they were going to replace that one. But now the driver's side one has gotten worse to the point now that it needs to be replaced. So when I take it in there to get the oil changes this next week, they're also going to put a new taillight in completely for free, you know, under warranty, and that should handle that. And people have been asking what mods void the warranty. And basically, you know, like the exhaust I have, things like that aren't going to void the warranty except the warranty for that part. So when I did the exhaust and I did the intake in this car, you know, I didn't want to void the warranty, and those parts won't void the warranty. The, you know, parts that will void the warranty are things that put a lot more stress on the components than is normal. So superchargers, turbos, you know, forged internals. Once you even start opening up the engine on your own, that's it. You're on your own with that stuff. So, you know, if you're ever in doubt, you can always look at the Magnuson-Moss Act. I think there was a court case that was settled, and they basically said the responsibility is on the dealership to prove that the part that you added to the car is what caused the car's failure for whatever, you know, problem the car has that you're trying to get warranty work done. So basically, if, you know, I have this exhaust system on here, for them to claim that the exhaust system is what blew my engine, if my engine decides to blow up, they would have to prove that the exhaust is what did it. And so if the exhaust isn't what did it, then they still have to replace it. So that's the way that works. So I mean, it goes without saying that the parts of my warranty that are gone now are my exhaust warranty and my intake warranty, because those are aftermarket parts now. So if this aftermarket intake fails, Subaru isn't going to put in a new stock intake. I messed with the intake, so the intake is now my responsibility. Same with the exhaust. I took off the exhaust, I have a new one on there, so if any exhaust problems come up, that's you know, going to be the fault of the exhaust, and that's it. So those are really the only things you have to worry about, really, with you know, as far as warranty work goes. So yeah, so now it's time for this week's news portion. Alright, so for this week's news, the first thing I want to talk about this week is the Aston Martin V12 Vantage S. A new model that Aston Martin has announced. Basically, it looks very, I mean, it's basically the same Vantage that you've seen over the past many years. This one, though, has the new engine out of the Vanquish. So this has 565 horsepower now and a 205 mile per hour top speed, which is pretty sweet. The only thing that's sad about this new V12 Vantage is that this one doesn't have a manual transmission anymore. So this only has an automated manual transmission. So it has the paddle shifters. So it's kind of sad, but it also increases the value, I'm sure, of the standard V12 Vantages that now are going to be the only V12 Vantage you can get in a manual. And while we're on the topic of new engines, Chevy released the info on the new Lt1 engine that's going to be in the new Corvette Stingray for 2014. And it puts out 460 horsepower and 465 foot-pounds of torque, which to me is actually kind of disappointing, considering the previous generation motor that has been around forever was putting out 430 horsepower. You know, they definitely, I think, should have had more power for the standard car. They say it'll get to 0 to 60 in under 4 seconds, though, which is, you know, pretty good if they can live up to those claims, but it's still disappointing. I was hoping the car would have more power. Another cool car that was released this week was the 2014 BMW X5, which, you know, is their SUV. And the cool thing about this is they're offering it in rear-wheel drive now. I mean, they made some styling changes at the front and the back. It looks a little bit different. You know, the interior is a little bit nicer. Not all radical change, obviously. You know, it still is very BMW. Nothing crazy. But yeah, very cool. They offer rear-wheel drive in an SUV. That's the first time I've seen that in a long time, since, you know, the old school four-wheel drive systems. The last thing I want to talk about this week is 24/7 Wall Street, which is a financial news and opinion website, has predicted that Volvo and Mitsubishi will exit the US by sometime next year. Which is just a prediction. I mean, this isn't a report or anything, but that's what they're saying. And I was kind of thinking Mitsubishi would probably be on its way out pretty soon, because unfortunately the Evo 10 is extremely stale at this point. They're not selling very many of those. The Lancer is kind of stale, and I mean, it's still a fairly decent seller, but it's not as good as it used to be. The Eclipse is almost non-existent now. Hardly anyone buys a brand new Mitsubishi Eclipse. You know, the Endeavor that Mitsubishi has is pretty nice for a small SUV. I feel like Mitsubishi's just kind of slowly dying. I don't know if they'll be out by next year, but it probably won't be too much longer after that if they don't exit by next year. Also, they say that, you know, Volvo is going to be probably pulling out of the US pretty soon, which I'm not too sure. I don't know a lot about Volvo's sales or their selling strategies, but Volvo's always been a pretty low volume seller anyway. They've never gone after huge sales numbers. So I feel like Volvo's a lot more comfortable with the low volume sales that they have than Mitsubishi is. I feel like Volvo is probably going to be okay. I mean, obviously their cars are expensive, so they probably have a higher profit margin. Volvo is still #1 for safety. I mean, if you want a safe car, get a Volvo. There's really nothing better than Volvo. So I don't know, I think there's still a lot of dedicated diehard people out there that support Volvo, but at the same time Saab had a lot of diehard supporters too, and that wasn't enough to save Saab. So hoping Volvo isn't on the way out, but they might be. According to this report, they have good reason to believe they think Volvo will be pulling out soon. So we'll see if those predictions come true. So yeah, that's it for all the news for this week, guys. So I'll send it back to me in the car. So yeah, guys, I'll leave you with a nice little acceleration here like I always do. Video, and as always, take care, and I'll see you next time.